Would everyone please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome you all here this evening for our first meeting in 2012. All are present except for Mike Murray. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
By Todd, second by Eric. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. On our consent agenda this evening is the check wire transfer disbursement summary, bank reconciliation statement, approval of school board minutes from the regular school board meeting on December 12th, and donations as follows. $500 from Prior Lake Rotary for families in need in our schools, $250 from Prior Lake Rotary for the Strive program, $1,000 from Tom Sylvester in memory of Kathy Sylvester to Westwood Elementary for purchase of reading materials for first graders, $500 from Diane and Doug Ramsey to offset expenses for the football team to travel to the Metrodome for the state football tournament, $50 from Jennifer Trousseau through United Guarantee Corporation employee contributions for Prior Lake High School, materials from Richard and Monica Rowe for the Industrial Tech Department at Prior Lake High School, $400 from Prior Lake State Bank through the debit card program for Prior Lake High School, $150 from Diane Haight through the Wells Fargo Community Support Campaign for Prior Lake High School, $400 from Mr. and Mrs. Decker through the Mayor Prize Financial Annual Giving Campaign for Jeffers Pond Elementary, and resignations, terminations, and non-renewals as listed. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
By Rich.
Second.
By Tom. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. We have no Laker Pride this evening or Laker Showcase, so we'll move on to open forum. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board on a topic that's not on our agenda this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to personnel. Matt?
All right. First, I would like to recommend the following candidates for employment and am seeking board approval.
Do I have a motion to accept the candidates for employment?
So moved.
By Tom, second. By Todd. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. Next.
Next, I would like to present the following leaves of absence and am seeking board approval.
Do I have a motion to accept the leaves of absence as listed? So moved. By Stacy, second.
Second.
By Tom. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0.
And finally, on behalf of the School Board's License Negotiations Committee, it is my recommendation that the proposed contract settlement between the school board and the Prior Lake Savage Education Association be approved. As I've written in my memorandum to the board, this comes with the equivalent cost of a 1% increase in the second year of the agreement, and no addition to the salary schedule in the first year of the agreement. And as is also noted, there was no increase to insurance premiums for either health or dental insurance for the current school year, and we're anticipating a minimal increase, if any, the following year. And finally, the last thing that I would like to say is just that I certainly appreciate what is often a difficult situation, the ability that both parties show to come to the table and with respect and work together to find the right end result for the district and our employees in this case.
Do I have a motion to accept the proposed collective bargaining agreement between ISD 719 and the PLSEA?
So moved.
By Rich, second. Second. By Stacy. Any comments or questions? One comment I'd make, since I guess I've been the longest negotiator with the teachers union that's here right now, is that this was probably the most productive, most efficient negotiation process we've gone through. And I kind of think we set a record in that we got done the earliest we ever have. I see Deb smiling over there. We actually were done when we said that we were going to be done by, and we had the shortest number of meetings. Started a little later, but we're very efficient with what we did. And it was very good, and I think it was a lot of work on everyone's part to do that. So I appreciate that, and hopefully future negotiations will go as well. Any other comments? Okay. A motion and a second then. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. We have no old business this evening. We'll move on to new business. Paraprofessional Recognition Week. I'm not sure. Okay, this is a certificate of commendation, Paraprofessional Recognition Week, January 16th to the 20th, 2012. This certificate is presented as recognition to the more than 25,000 paraprofessionals working in Minnesota schools and educational programs. Therefore, with the appreciation and respect of the people of Minnesota, we recognize them. Okay. I have hereunto set my hand and caused the great seal of the state of Minnesota to be affixed at the Capitol in the city of St. Paul, January 10th, 2012, and it's signed by our Governor Mark Dayton, State of Minnesota, Office of the Governor. So we will, would you like to say something? Yeah.
It is oftentimes our paraprofessionals that really help make us shine. Throughout our district, we have wonderful paraprofessional support throughout our early childhood through 12th grade programs. And they deserve this type of recognition. I know we have it for our teaching staff, and it's important for us to also recognize our paraprofessionals. I'll have that moment also, and that comes on January 16th.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, then we'll move on to the major magnitude field trip. And Mr. Lund?
And then to preface that, if I could, we have changed the way that we do major magnitude field trips. Mr. Lund and I and Mr. Rodin visit about any field trips that come up major magnitude-wise, and if they fit within the parameters that you've set as a board, then we either approve them or send them back until they meet those parameters. This particular one is outside of the number of approved days, and we asked her to consider it again, and Dave is going to give you that update on why it's coming to you as a major magnitude field.
If you remember with the policy change, anything that went beyond the normal parameters of the major magnitude field trip, we would bring to you. What we have here is beyond the normal 14 days. We're at 18 days, if I read correct. This group, just a little explanation, we hosted students from this school here in our building about the end of September through the middle of October. We have a host exchange program with this school in Germany. They came over with their principal, actually, and it was an assistant principal and a teacher. Their students stayed with our students, and they were here for about 2.5 weeks. They went to class a couple times, during the week. With our class size, we couldn't have them there all day long. And then they went and kind of found out a little bit about Minnesota and a little bit about the United States. And this is kind of a reciprocal trip. Our German students are going over there to stay with host families, hosted by the same people that came over here and visited with us. They'll be staying with the families. They'll be meeting with those kids, some of those same teachers. Excuse me, they're not in session at the time. And they would like, since they're flying over there and staying with the families, they would like some extra time worked out in their travel to, well, you can see the itinerary. The itinerary is listed at what they'll do, fairly comprehensive. And the trips and the itinerary over there are being set up, and even the families that they're being set up are all being researched and set up by the educators over in Germany. And we went over 2 years ago and stayed, and we kind of do a yearly exchange with this group from Germany. I'm impressed. I got a Christmas card from them, and I could even read it with my high school German. And so the reason I'm coming forward to you is the additional 4 days on the trip. It is during summer, there will be no school time lost.
Are there any questions? So the 4 days is the only other outlier from the
Yep.
policy, and otherwise,
I think I counted that, right? Is it 4 or is it 5?
15 days.
but it's passed.
Yeah, it's 4 if you don't count the day that they're sitting at the airport waiting to fly out.
Eric?
I would say, given the fact that it doesn't impact any school days outside of our standard breaks and what we define as a school year, I don't have any objections to it, and I think it's a great opportunity for our students to really immerse themselves in the culture and the language.
Is that a motion?
That'll be a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
By Todd. Any other comments or discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
On behalf of Ms. Pope and Mr. Inglesby and their student, I thank you.
Have fun.
Now we'll move on to secondary registration guides, and this is the secondary principals.
I want you to, yes.
No.
Well, for the high school, I gave you, our registration manual is essentially the same. We talked a little, we'd like a little caveat as we move to all quarters, just with some of the clerical course numbers and so on and so forth. What I gave you is the major changes to our registration manual this way. That's why I did it last year. We're looking at 90-some pages. And essentially everything is the same except updating names and all the clerical stuff. Civil engineering and architecture, if you remember, Mr. Ulrich came through the curriculum committee and came to the school board with that in November, if I'm correct. Spanish 5, we're currently working somewhat like we did, well, exactly like we did with physics and chemistry last year. We came to you to say we're trying to offer this as a college in the schools, actually concurrent enrollment. We were searching around in Mankato, Minnesota State. Mankato actually had a program that we thought was more rigorous than the other programs we've looked at. I've been in contact with Mankato. They would like us to be able to offer the Spanish program through them. We're waiting for them to accept our syllabus and our students. It's not a new course. It's still our Spanish 5. The only thing we're kind of waiting on, and we'll put a caveat in the book, is this: we may be able to offer this for college credit, just like we do with the physics and with the chemistry. Does that make sense? We did that, okay. Intermediate algebra, with the change with with what we traditionally call algebra in the 9th grade, going to 8th grade, under the state guidelines, we can no longer call the algebra we do in high school algebra. So we have to change it to, as most schools are coming up with a variety of names. The most common is intermediate algebra out there. It's got to, because they'll already have an algebra on their transcript for college clearinghouse and everything. They want to see it different, so we're just changing the name. It's not a new course. We're changing from algebra to intermediate algebra. And all the high schools in the state are going to have to do that. College accounting, I just bring this up. We've noted it in there. Right now, the College Board is looking on authorizing, through the whole system. There is no AP accounting. They're looking at authorizing AP accounting. We're gearing up for it. Jennifer Reinhardt has been working very hard to make sure our accounting standards are going to meet the College Board accounting standards. So when that comes about, 2013, 2014, we will be ready for it. But it is noted in our handbook. It is a change. I want to let you know it won't be for next year because the College Board hasn't approved it, not our school, the program as a whole. And when that gets in, we want to be able to offer. So it's kind of the pre-work getting college AP accounting up and running. So if the College Board does accept it, it's very highly likely from what we're hearing, we'll be ready to offer AP accounting in 13-14. And then outdoor education, it was traditionally a 2-hour class. New personnel under the change to FIAD class would like to change that to a 1-hour class, which makes a whole lot of stuff easier. That's the major changes for the high school. Any questions?
Dave, I have one question. So Spanish 5, if we're
Right.
currently like a junior in Spanish 5 and we want to take, I mean, would they be taking this class then as, just if they want college credit, but it's essentially the same class?
It's the same exact class, so, but if we change it to a college class, then we will offer it for college credit. It's really no different to the students, and juniors can take a college credit class.
Right. I'm just saying if someone's a junior currently right now in Spanish 5, there isn't anywhere for
No,
them to go,
no,
right?
no. Spanish 5 is the top of our
Okay.
Spanish program.
Do we have a lot of juniors? I mean, I know juniors that are taking Spanish 5.
I can go look it up, but I can't answer that. We will run into that more and more as we bring, Spanish more in full down into the younger grades. We'll probably be looking somewhere down the road, just estimate at a Spanish 6.
Okay.
Right now, the numbers aren't there.
Aren't there? Okay.
And as far as the middle school, I don't know, any other questions for Dave? Okay. As far as the middle school, the only major change was in the area of world language. We are no longer offering the world language course. Sixth graders on the other day of geography will be taking Spanish, and the students that don't take Spanish will be taking the extension math or extension reading like they did this year. So there will not be a world language course. In seventh grade, there will not be a world language course either. There will be Spanish that will be offered, and we had a Spanish 7A this year, and students that took Spanish 7A this year, or excuse me, sixth grade Spanish this year, will take Spanish 7B. And if it's their first time taking Spanish, then they'll take Spanish 7A. So basically, the only changes that we had was in the language component to our curriculum. Otherwise, everything has remained the same.
And just to clarify, the world language that you're referring to, that was when they could kind of take parts of a bunch of different languages? Or-
That's when they had, it was an exploration class, so each quarter was a different subject area. One was the world cultures, one was Spanish, one was German, and one was French.
Okay.
And lack of interest was one reason that we decided not to offer that course next year. The Spanish interest was much, much higher.
So even though that's listed in the document presented to us this evening, that's to be cut?
I'm sorry?
My copy still has exploratory world languages 7.
Oh, it shouldn't be in there. No, is that seventh grade that's in there? Or is it sixth grade?
That's a good question.
It should say right next to it.
Oh, probably 7, yeah.
Okay, then that was a mistake. That should not be in there.
Okay.
Nope.
Any other questions? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the 2012-13 secondary registration guides?
So moved.
By Tom, second.
I'll second.
By Eric. Any further comments? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. Thank you.
Thanks.
Moving on now to the 5-year plan for capital facilities and deferred maintenance. Jim?
Good evening, Chair Schimick, school board members, Dr. Gruber. Tonight, I'm going to report on the progress of the board-approved capital facilities plans for 2011 and 2012. These are several projects that are funded in two different ways. One is through capital dollars, and one is through deferred maintenance levy dollars. I'll start with the capital dollars first. At Hidden Oaks, we are looking at adding a handicap access at, excuse me, the sheet says door S6, it's actually door 5N, so a different door, handicap access door. At Greenwood, we had a gym floor refinish. That project is completed. District-wide, we're putting partitions in for bathrooms. We have some bathrooms yet to complete. Five Fox and Hidden Oaks Middle School carpeting project was completed. District-wide, we are adding motor start drives. Again, that is in progress. At Five Fox, we added an entrance into the office as a safety enhancement. That is completed. At the high school, we added a track storage building. That is completed. Westwood, we had a carpet replacement project. That is completed. Far Lake High School switch replacement is currently scheduled for spring break. Next, we go to deferred maintenance funding. We had a rooftop unit at Hidden Oaks that was, we had a budget number of $55,000, and it came back at about $30,000 more than that. So we looked at a repair on that instead of a replacement. So that is completed. At Glendale Elementary, we polished concrete in the cafeteria. That is completed. District-wide, we had some significant concrete and blacktop repair. That is completed and ongoing. District Service Center, we replaced a door here in the boardroom. Hidden Oaks Middle School storefront was replaced. Prior Lake High School, we have some compressor failures that are going to be replaced this spring, along with some cooling system deficiencies. Twin Oaks Laker Field Service to scoreboard is completed. And finally, Hidden Oaks gym floor C was refinished. Those were the approved projects for 2011, 2012. And this month we begin the process of looking for projects for 12-13.
Do I have a motion to accept the 5-year plan as presented? Or actually this year's plan, I guess.
Yes.
So moved.
By Todd, second? Second. By Stacy. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Boundary designation for the new Savage development. Sue-Ann, yes.
If you recall last spring, I was in summer actually, board members joined me at the Savage City Hall as discussions of what would be happening at the corner of 42 and 13 in the development behind Rainbow Foods. The first recommendation was turned down, I voted no, and then the company came back and the modified version was approved by the Savage City Council last summer. Ground has not been broken on this new area that is, if you think of it in terms of going north on Highway 13, crossing over 42, very next stoplight is Conley Parkway, and you turn left there and come behind Rainbow and back out by Arby's. That's the area we're talking about. It's the area right behind the strip mall shopping center right there. And one of our thoughts on this was that we would get ahead of any groundbreaking by making sure that we have the designation of which elementary school these students would attend. So Jim has worked with the Transportation Department to determine what would be most feasible, and it's our recommendation that that little development there be part of Westwood Elementary boundaries for a couple of reasons. One being that Westwood is one of our smallest schools. This area is contiguous with the Westwood boundaries, which are on the south side of 42. Right now, if we left it as it is, it would be part of Glendale Elementary, which is our largest school. And we'd like to be able to make sure that we have the space needed for any new homes and apartments or townhouses that go into that development, and that we're ahead of the game. We're giving that information out to families when they choose to move there. So that's the proposal basically that Jim is bringing forward. Did I miss anything, Jim?
Oh, excellent job.
So you can see on your charts here on pages 68, 69, you can see what we've done here, and that's what I'd like for you to describe for them, please.
Okay, sure. In the map before you can see what I'm going to call a little panhandle we're adding to Westwood boundary area. Village Commons will, at build-out, have, by my count, 92 apartment units or townhome units. So that could be pretty significant children. And as Sue-Ann talked about, Glendale is near capacity. Westwood today is almost 200 students under capacity. So that would be the natural fit. And it works very well for transportation. The other change would be AM kindergarten. It would fall under the PM kindergarten. I'm sorry, it would switch from a PM kindergarten to an AM kindergarten boundary as well.
Question. Does this affect any current students? So this is, so there won't be any people switching schools, or just the,
I don't know, actually, what we did, we carved out through our precinct finder the actual neighborhood that is Village Commons. And so it affects no current
okay.
homes.
When is build-out supposed to be completed?
I'm not sure. I think the phase 1 begins this year, this spring.
And completion is of the 92 units when?
I'm not sure of that. I don't have that information.
They say maybe by next winter, midwinter of 13.
Okay.
This time next year perhaps, they would start having them, is what I heard last. But we'll continue to stay in contact with the city of Savage, the city administrator and his staff as we go through this next several months. We wanted this done before any advertisement of Village Commons comes in. So we're making sure that we've got the right alignment of schools before we start marketing, before they start marketing their schools, their apartments.
And has facility used the preliminary plat drawing to look at bus stops?
We have that right here, Rich. We've looked at location. Location of Village Commons works very well for Westwood schools for transportation.
You can see that the little green square comes back across 42. That's a stoplight right there. It goes back into that neighborhood at the northeast end of Charlie.
Oh, that stoplight at Arby's or?
At Arby's.
Okay.
So it looks like it's going to be a really nice fit, and would also allow us to equalize some of our enrollment.
Any other questions?
I appreciate getting out in front of this, so we don't have to worry about in the future where we're going to put the students, so you know right away.
Any other comments? Okay, this requires board approval. Do I have a motion to approve the boundary designation? So moved. By Stacy. Second?
Second.
By Tom. Any other comments? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. On to policy. We've got 4 of them on the second and final reading, although they were back in December when they were first read, so it's a while ago. I'll turn it over to you, Sue Ann.
Okay. We have 2 policies that go hand in hand, policy 707 and policy 708. And Doug Kern and Jim Debo worked with us on these policies to make them more efficient and effective, and also to define what it is that we can do as a school district and what it is that we prefer to do when a student needs to be transported. So you'll see that some of 707 first, transportation of public school students, has some cleanup in it, and then 708 is transportation of non-public students. And I would suggest that we look at those 2 together. And Dr. Kern, did you have anything else to add on that? That's basically what I have. Okay.
Okay, are there any questions? There's no change from the first reading to this reading. Are there any questions on these 2 policies? We'll take them in one motion. Do I have a motion to accept or approve these 2 policies, 707 and 708?
So moved.
By Stacy. Second?
I will second that.
By Rich. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. 424.
Yes. 424 is the evaluation of probationary teachers, and Mr. Mons has given us his recommendation on that, and that is to add a definition of probationary, meaning a teacher that does not have continuing contract status in the district as defined by state statute. Any other changes, Mr. Mons?
That about sums it up.
That's it. So that one is different than the second one, so I think we should take those separately.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve policy 424, evaluation of probationary teachers? By Eric. Second?
Second.
By Tom. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. 427.
427 was originally called initial compensation adjustment following part year of employment. We thought that was a bit confusing. Mr. Mons again came to us and worked with us to adjust that to now read 427 compensation following part year of employment. And again, he defined the purpose. The purpose of this policy is to create a consistent method for compensating employees after they have completed a partial year of employment. And the date for that, it is determined to be December 31st of the year preceding the established anniversary date. And those are the two changes to this policy. And this is the second meeting.
Do I have a motion to accept the compensation following part year employment policy?
So moved.
By Stacy, second. By Eric. Any comments or questions? Eric?
Just asking if this has been reviewed by all the stakeholders?
It has been. It was brought forward to both our superintendent's advisory council meeting and also our meeting conferred meeting.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And the only thing that I'll say just very quickly is that there's no change to current practice in this policy.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. Administrative reports. Sue Ann?
Yes, Happy New Year, everyone. I would also like to thank Eric for his chairmanship in the past year. He has brought good leadership to us and solid leadership, and I have certainly grown as a superintendent because of his pushing and stretching of my skills and talents, and I appreciate that. And I know that we as a district have also grown. So thank you, Eric, for your commitment to our district and making time to get here from downtown, which isn't always easy. My funny one is that I did receive a text, my last text from Eric was saying that he was going to be just a few minutes late for meet and confer, and I was in Australia. But it was nice to know, even though it was the next day, that he was racing through the traffic to get here and to be there. So he has really stayed committed to making sure that he's trying to stretch between here and downtown in as short a time as possible. And it's done it. So thank you for your leadership. As you know, my husband and I, Jim, were in Australia this Christmas for visiting our daughter, and it was absolutely wonderful to be there and be with them, as I hope it was for each of you to be with your families, growing families, and Lee's respect, and many of yours, and to enjoy that time as family. In our consent agenda, you might have noted that our Prior Lake Rotary has donated a total of $750 to families in need over the holiday season right here in Prior Lake. And that is really an important part of who they are as an organization, a service organization, and also tells a lot about where we are as an organization also, that we have families in need, and some of their needs were met, not only by our Prior Lake Rotary, but also by our high school staff and each of our staff at each of our sites who have donated their own money and time to make sure that families had something special. So thank you not only to our Prior Lake Rotary, but also to all those teachers and staff members and board members that gave of their talents and resources to make sure that families had a little bit extra. We came back last Tuesday, and it's been absolutely in full swing ever since. Everything is going along very well, but we're all very busy. In addition to being here in the district, I'm sitting on the state teacher evaluation task force. We've had our first meeting, and we have another meeting coming up next week that I will attend in representing the superintendents, but also being a part of a statewide group helping to design what teacher evaluation might look like by 2014. So I'm looking forward to being a part of that and being a voice for our teachers, but also for the continuity of the teaching profession and the professionalism that is to be documented. In addition, I'm going to be sitting on the Scott County Public Health Task Force that's evaluating the public health risk assessment. So that is beginning very shortly, so I'll be also doing that. And continue to be out in the buildings and looking for the next set around of visiting in the buildings and walking through classrooms, as well as being in the lunchrooms visiting the staff about what's happening. That will start in February. So everything else is moving along. I'm leaving for a conference tomorrow evening that is for superintendents. The Midwest Suburban Superintendents Association has a meeting, and this year's agenda is very robust, and I'm very much looking forward to being a part of that in that conversation with about 45 to 46 other superintendents across the Midwest.
Thank you. Any administrative reports? No? Any board reports? It's quiet over the holiday. Okay, future events? Did you have anything? Chris. You have nothing else? Okay. All right. Future events. Minnesota School Board Association Leadership Conference is this week, Thursday and Friday, January 12th and 13th. I know there's a group of us that are going down. There's 2 excellent speakers that have been set up, both for Thursday and Friday morning. There are some workshops and some presentations, and I believe Julie and Matt will be presenting at the convention or conference. So that's great. And so we'll have a presence there. And then also there's no school, and the district offices will be closed on January 16th, Martin Luther King Day. And our next meeting will be our school board study session on January 23rd at 5 p.m. With a potential board meeting to follow. And that will be announced to the public in plenty of time. And now I will take a motion to close to discuss the proposed expulsion of student.
So moved.
By Todd, second. By Eric. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. We'll resume in about 3 minutes after everyone has left. Thank you. Stacy, second by
Second.
Tom. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. I will now read the resolution. Resolution relating to the proposed expulsion exclusion of the student identified in the attachments as listed. I don't know if I need to read anything else. Do I have a motion to accept or to approve the resolution for a proposed expulsion?
So moved.
By Eric, second by Stacy. Any other comments or questions? I need a roll call vote on this. Eric?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Stacy?
Aye.
Todd?
Aye.
Lee, aye. Tom?
Aye.
That motion passes 6-0. And now I'll take a motion to adjourn. By Eric, second by Todd. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. Thank you.
You didn't hit your little hammer?
I did the start.
Oh, yeah.